What's up, boys? Back again with another video for you all. So the title of this video is Being Heartbroken is Great. I'm not recording this video because I'm heartbroken or something like that, but the reason why I'm recording this video is because you look at great people out there. They've all had great stuff happen to them, or like the effect of them being great was through a cause of negative thing that happened in their life. The reason why I want to make this is because there is a fine line between non-religious philosophies and religious philosophies. So basically, in religious philosophy, you're being tested by God to make you a better, stronger person in order for you to live a better life. In non-religious philosophies, they do still believe that, but they don't believe that it's God doing it. They just believe that the universe is doing it, or nature is doing it, or nature just does it have a way of making you stronger. But basically, the line between religious philosophies and non-religious philosophies on the term of going through hardship and going through heartbreak and going through struggle, there's a fine line where it meets in the middle, and they both agree on something. That the most growth a person can have is through hardship, through pain, through heartbreak. And there's something beautiful in loss, something beautiful in losing, something beautiful in not performing in the way you want to perform, not being who you want to be. And our mind usually tells us when we fail, or if we lose, or if we get a heartbreak, it usually tells us that it's the end of the world, to give up, or this and that. But in true reality, as cliche it might sound, is losing is still basically winning, because you've learned something. But once you go for that mindset of you lost, you should just give up. For example, let's say that you were sparring in MMA, or if you were sparring in boxing, whatever it may be, or you were 1v1ing someone in football or soccer, or whatever you're 1v1ing someone in, or basketball, or whatever it may be, right? You were just at a competition, and basically you lost. If you lose and then you just give up the whole thing, that's one route you could take. But there's another route of people, Joe Rogan talks about it, how they lose and they become so great from that loss. There's two people. One, when they lose, they just give up on it entirely. And two, the person who takes that loss, that negativity, that negative energy, and they put it into something positive, into something better. Now, I would just like to add, the great quote, beautiful quote, that hard times create strong men and good times create weak men. And basically, our mind, there's a part in our brain, I forgot what it's called, scientists can put down in the comment or whatever it is, you can search it up on your own, but basically, we have this thing inside of our mind, this thing that regulates where instant gratification is the things that makes us happy. And it will keep chasing it. It's in our biology. Every other animal does this. They chase their desires. They chase the things that are not good for them. And basically, in our mind, it is hard to counteract that because it's in our biology, it's in our instinct, basically. Our instinct is not to do what is right. Our instinct is to do what feels good. But sometimes when we chase those things that make us feel good instead of chasing the things that actually make us do good, what ends up happening is that we get the opposite result of what we were trying to get. And it's just such a great perspective to think about life in. It's so easy to crawl up into a ball like a snail. Think about a snail. If it gets it's going through harsh conditions, it can roll up into the ball protected by its shell. It's so easy for us to roll up into the shell. But the real growing happens through that negativity. through that storm. It's like a fire, basically. You can get that fire and control it and make it into a powerful weapon. But if you let the fire get out of hand, it will burn you. You will get crushed and you will feel so bad and you just want to give up. Or you can control that fire and turn it to something useful. You know, look at fire now. What great things that we were able to accomplish with the fire. And it's just such a great perspective to think about life in. It's easy. The easy option for us is to crawl into a ball, complain and whine. But the best thing for us to do is to see through the bigger picture about what's happening currently. You know, if you're going through something bad, something negative, some setback in life, right? The best thing to do is to see through that and what you can make out of that negative. What negative can you use to make this thing a positive? You know, because I believe that in each and every bad situation, you can make a good situation out of it. You know, I'm like, not trying to say like, oh, like, you should do this and do that, and you should like F your feelings or do that. But like, what I am trying to say is that you can't control what happened, right? We can only control how we react to it and what we do with it. So if something happened to you, one, you can even crawl up like a shell, or you can take the fire and use it to make you a better person. Because if you look at greats, you know, why are the people in Dagestan so good at fighting? Because they were poor, they didn't have money, they didn't have that. All they had was training. And they took that hardship, that poor lifestyle, and they turned it into the fire that they had, that work ethic that they have. If you look at like people from the poorer places, Alex Pereira, he worked at a tire shop. You look at Marab. You look at all these people who are great UFC champions who have that great work ethic. It's because they were poor. It's because they were going through hardship. And they used that pain, that the struggle they felt of not being able to eat, not being able to make money. They used that and they transferred that fire. Instead of crawling up into a ball from the fire, they took the fire and they turned it into this unbelievable, unbreakable, willing spirit to become a champion. And it's just great. If you look at GSP, he was bullied. And what did he do with it? Instead of crying up and crying and being all depressed about being bullied, what did he do? He took that energy, he took that fire that was being thrown at him, and he put it into something great. He put it into fighting. He put it into martial arts. He did that, and he became one of the greatest martial artists. That's why one of the greatest people are made through one of the darkest times. And that's just a philosophy thought I had inside of my head when I was just going about my day. And I hope you found that helpful. And that's enough for me. Improve your life and have the best possible, and be the best possible person you can be. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.